Breakfast
The voice of the creative economy.
with Vincent Heeringa.
Yes, joining us now, it is Vincent Heeringa from Idealog magazine, also Good Magazine, NZ Marketing, stoppress.co.nz, a whole lot more as well. The HB Media Stable. Hello, Vincent.
Good morning.
And today we're talking about what the government is doing about productivity and making the country more productive.
The government.
The government. Oh, you're sounding very robotic this morning, by the way.
I'm sorry, I'm full of a cold, actually.
Oh,
I'm full of a cold. Change of season.
That was me. I think I was sending your voice back to you. That wouldn't be very pleasant in your ear.
Right. No, it's all got to do with my nasal passages, I'm sorry.
Oh.
New Zealand has a problem with productivity. We work harder than many other nations for less. And that gets to the heart of our slow but sure economic decline, that we don't make our dollar and our efforts go as far as they should. And I've talked about some of this stuff before, and it seems to me that productivity is a great idea. It's an idea that actually everyone can latch onto, because if you're coming at it from the left, you might say, well, how fair is it that workers would work harder for less? If you're coming at it from the right, you could say, well, the allocation of resources is poor. So, there's actually, in the word productivity, in the concept of productivity, to me, a really unifying idea about how we can improve New Zealand.
So, what did the government actually? Have they announced something this week, or what are they doing?
Yeah, they did. So we have things like the Families Commissioner and the Banking Ombudsman and the Commerce Commission. These are entities that sit outside the government's strict control. They're government-funded, government-appointed, but they are supposed to provide independent advice. Well, they've created a thing called the Productivity Commission. And the idea of it is based on an Australian model, and that is to look at a wide range of issues, including legislation that's being passed. It's kind of acts like a gatekeeper. So whenever a piece of legislation is going to be introduced, the Commission will be asked to make a decision about whether it's going to help productivity or hinder it. And so the Rodney Hyde announced this as part of the National Act coalition agreement that such a commission would be established, and so it was announced yesterday that it was going to be established, and they're looking now for commissioners to run it.
What do you think are the kind of real practical steps, though, to increase a sector's productivity, or even right down to a firm's productivity?
Well, I'm no economist, but it seems to me that what gets to the heart of the matter is how well are the dollars being used that are in that sector, and also the labour, but also how much is actually going in. And it was interesting that in the Herald, Brian Fallow, who is a terrific writer, pointed out that New Zealand's multi-factor productivity in the last 3 decades has been actually better than Australia. But what makes a big difference in Australia is that they have much bigger inputs. So, for instance, they've got a superannuation scheme that is really gigantic and has ploughed billions, if not trillions, into the Australian economy. So if you've got a lot of inputs coming in, you're going to have a lot of outputs going out. And one of the worries, I reckon, about a productivity commission, particularly if it comes from the ACT side, is that all they'll be looking for is, they'll be just looking at compliance costs, and they won't actually be looking at some of the other factors, which, to my mind, are much more interesting. And they'll be looking at things like, well, how easy is it to set up a business? How annoying is it to have to go through an RMA process? What are the compliance costs around reporting and so on? As if that by itself is just going to fix our problem.
Yeah.
But, our problem's much more profound than that, Wammo. It's got to do with value. It's like we've got to get more out of what we have. And if we can get to a point where this commission is talking about what's the role of R&D in productivity, and what's the role of innovation and investment in technology and new ways of doing things, that to me gets much more to the heart of the issue than than just looking at compliance costs.
So if you were setting up a commission yourself, those are the areas that you would concentrate on.
Well, I just hope that this group is going to do some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As there's already, I also hope they don't just replicate, that they do something new. The Victoria University have been running a program like this for a long time. The stuff on there is really interesting. So, do these commissions work? I don't know. What's the Families Commission ever done for your family, Wammo?
No idea. Yeah, no idea. You hear about these. You're absolutely right in saying that, because you hear about these things called commissions all the time, but you have no sort of tangible, nothing you can hold on to say, oh, this has affected my life, or this has affected the economy in this particular way.
Yeah, exactly. Is the Productivity Commission going to be productive?
Yeah.
That'll be the question of the day.
Yeah. Or will they be unproductive by asking too many questions of managers and business owners who really just want to get down to the business of making business?
Yeah. Well, if you're going to spend some money, why don't you give it to people already doing it? Give it to a university. The people in universities don't care about criticising the government and laying into stuff. If Victoria have already got something underway, why don't you just fund them a little bit?
Don't recreate the wheel.
Exactly. Isn't that productivity at work?
Yeah, it is. So it's interesting you bring this up, because I think this whole issue of productivity and this productivity commission thing hasn't even been announced at all, really, in the mainstream media this week. Not that I've noticed.
No. Well, it was only just yesterday, and there is a piece in the Business Herald this morning. But it's an interesting. It's an interesting one. Whether it's going to get hijacked by the new right, that'll be the one to watch.
All right, thanks very much, Vincent.
Pleasure, Wammo.
That is Vincent Heeringa from the HP Media stable, idealogue.co.nz.